So thanks everyone for attending this second session of Thursday morning. So I don't know whether you attended the previous session. Actually, this one is a kind of follow-up. So I might be a bit redundant, I apologize. But I need to do that to better introduce the work we are going to present today. We are going on our adventures of OpenStack in the edge computing area. In the second session, we are going to make a focus on Keystone. So Keystone in the context of the Fog Edge massively distributed cloud. Wait. Okay, the same issue as before.
You should be able to switch there.
Sorry, it's a Google bug issue. I don't know. And then I should do that. And then it should be OK. Here we go. So who are we? So my name is Adrien Lèbre. I am an associate professor at IMT Atlantic. IMT Atlantic is an engineering school in France and also a research institute. I am the PI of the FEMDC SIG and the PI of the Discovery Initiative, which is an academic project to try to solve the question of delivering a resource management system for fog and edge infrastructures.
Hi, I'm Marie Delavergne. I'm a master candidate at the University of Nantes in France. I'm also an intern at INRIA for the Discovery Initiative.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ronan-Alexandre Cheriot. I am a research scientist in computer science at INRIA, and I'm a member of the Discovery Initiative. I'm part of the FEMDC working group and also performance team. And I'm one of the main developers of NOS, which is a tool we use when we want to conduct performance analysis on top of OpenStack.
So before starting to discuss Keystone and all the challenges related to Keystone in the edge computing area, I would like to give you a short overview of FEMDC. So what is the FEMDC? So what is behind these few letters? So it's Fog Edge Massively Distributed Cloud SIG, or working group. This working group has been proposed in 2016. So why we have this crazy name is that because at that time, edge computing was so not trendy. Some people were making some bet on fog, other one on edge. And we decided actually to say that all those infrastructure has massively distributed clouds, so let's call it Fog Edge Massively Distributed Clouds, which actually is the FEMDC SIG. So what we are doing in the FEMDC concretely, we try to move forward on the question of how we can operate, administer, and use an edge computing infrastructure. So what is the edge computing infrastructure we're considering? Is the following one. You have a couple of micro and nano data centers, which has interconnected by wide area network connections. So what does it mean? It means that you will face high latency, you will face output limitations, intermittent network, which means partitioning issue. And we try to solve the question how we can administer and use all those resources. So why I try to make this focus is that maybe during this week you heard a lot of presentations that talk about edge computing and that included the IoT part. In this working group, in this SIG, we are only focusing on the micro and the nano data center parts, which means that actually we do not consider applications that can be deployed really at the extreme edge, so which means either on your smartphone or on some embedded systems such as cars or anything else. We already try to focus on the servers and the servers that are deployed through those different micro data centers. Okay. So if you want concrete numbers regarding what can be such an edge infrastructure, I strongly encourage you to give a look to one presentation that has been given yesterday by someone from China Mobile, where actually they introduce the edge infrastructures they are going to deploy by 2020. The presentation is already amazing with a lot of numbers. The size of the edge infrastructure is already handsome. I mean, just give a look and you will have concrete numbers. So what we are going in this FEMDC working group since 2016, so I'm not going to dive into details and present all the achievements we did, but basically you can see that we are used to give a couple of talks through the different OpenStack Summit and PTG. We can classify those talks around 2 categories. The first one are performance evaluation related to the OpenStack. So our goal is to really to investigate how OpenStack behaves in an edge computing context. And the second category of the work we are doing are related to the use case requirement specifications. And the talk we are going to give today is related to some performance evaluation we did on Keystone and DB alternatives. So let's start with the main focus on this talk. So our motivation actually is to try to see how we can operate and use an edge computing infrastructure with OpenStack. So this is a short sum up of what we presented before in the previous session. So basically in the previous session, we introduced that when you want to provide a resource management system for the edge computing infrastructures, you have to deal with inter and intra-services collaborations. Typically, when you want to start a VM from site A using the VMI from site B, you have an inter-service collaboration between the Nova on site A and the Glance on site B. And then you have also intra-service collaboration, is that, for example, when you want to ask Nova to be able to provision a VM either on site A or on site B. In that case, the scheduler of Nova should be able to satisfy this by doing intra-service between the 2 Nova instances that are deployed on each side of the edge infrastructure. We also highlight that actually sometimes you just have to revise the mechanisms, whereas in other cases you really need to implement new services. And we also discuss 2 design approaches to provide such a resource management system, either by doing top-down or bottom-up. So if we focus on Keystone, actually there are already some proposals to be able to do intra-service collaboration with Keystone. So maybe some of you already heard or are familiar with Keystone to Keystone. So this is one way to be able to provide a federation at the Keystone level. So in this presentation, we are not going to discuss that. You can check on the schedule of this week. There were a couple of presentations, so you can see the video. What we are going to focus in this talk is whether we can provide collaboration at the Keystone level by leveraging a bottom-up approach. So what does it mean by leveraging bottom-up approach? Is that we do not want to change the code of Keystone. We want to take the code of Keystone as it is nowadays and see whether by just changing some building block at the low level, we can have a Keystone that will be suited for the edge computing infrastructure context.
So first I'm going to present to you the different storage backend options we have considered. Then I'm going to introduce to you to Juice, which is a performance framework we developed to evaluate these options. Then Ronan will guide you through the evaluation and the results we got. And finally, Adrien will wrap everything up. So the first option we have considered is centralized MariaDB. So everyone knows about MariaDB. It's an open source fork from MySQL, which has been used largely before. Here we have each node that got a Keystone instance, and every Keystone is connected to the MariaDB, which is also on an OpenStack node. So since there is only 1 DB, it's quite easy to set up and to maintain because you only have to have 1 database, and also you have 1 configuration for every Keystone, which is you connect to this database. We suppose that it should be scalable enough for the expected loads that we considered hundreds of instances. The possible limitation we saw are pretty obvious. First thing is centralized MariaDB is a single point of failure. If this node fails, then every OpenStack can't be used. There is also a less catastrophic scenario where only one node is disconnected from the network, but then it also becomes unavailable. The second option we've considered is using MariaDB Galera cluster, which is a synchronized multi-master cluster for MariaDB. Every OpenStack has its own replicated database, and it's synchronized thanks to Galera. This solution allows to read and write on any instances, which is quite handy. It's also supposed to be highly available. The limitation we saw was the synchronous replication on high latency might cause on high latency networks might cause some problems because you have to replicate on every node, so it might be a lot of traffic, and on high latency it should be a problem. The second is Galera clustering scalability. If we have 100 nodes in the cluster, it might not be scalable enough. And also, there is a problem of the cluster partition, because when nodes are isolated from the cluster, you can't either read or write on these nodes to avoid stale reads and split brains. So you can read on any instance of MariaDB, so that's quite easy to understand, but how do you write actually on this cluster? So let's imagine that Keystone wants to make an update. It's a quite easy transaction. The transaction will use the same workflow as usual until the Keystone wants to commit the transaction. Then MariaDB stops the process, and it sends every changes to the database as a write set to every node. These write sets are then undergoes deterministic certification, which allows either to the transaction to be committed on every node, or if it fails, to be rollbacked on every node. The third approach we considered was using CockroachDB. CockroachDB is a global geo-distributed key-value data store. It was useful for us because it has a SQL interface. So it allows easy integration in OpenStack. If you are not familiar with the key-value database, you can imagine that the tables are split into ranges, and every ranges are replicated and scattered across the cluster. The limitation, also, you can see blue spots on each range. It's the leaseholder. The leaseholder is actually responsible to coordinate all reads and writes on the range. The limitation we considered was also the replication on high latency network, as for Galera, might be a problem. The network split and resynchronization of a node. If a node gets isolated, you can't read on a replica. And there is also the problem of transaction contention, which is caused by how CockroachDB makes its transaction. So as for Galera, you have the Keystone that wants to make an update, but actually the update is made on the leaseholder. That means it's not necessarily on the same node as the Keystone. So there is a first latency delay. The leaseholder then appends every changes to the log and forwards the request to the other replica. So they also append the changes to their logs, and then that's when it gets interesting, because they send the confirmation that the change is okay, but out of the 3 replicas, Cockroach only needs 2 confirmations to commit the changes. So the two confirmations are called quorum. It's what he needs to actually commit. So even if a message gets lost in the network, it will still be committed with another response from a replica. So also, there are two side notes here. If it fails, it will be totally retried. So this might be this might create contention on the network because there is a lot of traffic. And also, CockroachDB is as MariaDB as the highest level of isolation possible, which is serializable transactions. And Galera has a lower level of isolation. We also considered another approach with CockroachDB because CockroachDB actually allows us to add locality information on a node and then use this locality on the data to specify where the data has to be. So we considered a scenario where we have 3 groups that can be considered as continents with a high latency between them, and they have all 3 nodes that, that are separated with low latency. And this enabled us to consider 3 different scenarios. The one you can see here, where the leaseholder is in group 1 and the 2 replicas are in other groups. The one where the quorum is actually in only 1 group, so it can be really interesting because it doesn't have to communicate with group 2. And the one where all data are at the same place. So you've got the quorum in the same place, and also your data are localized on the same continent, which can be also useful. To evaluate these options, we developed Juice. Juice is built on EthnosLib, which was previously developed by the Discovery Initiative. This is a library that allows us to gather resources from a test bed to define and run experimentation workflow, like you can see on this slide. Juice can conduct performance analysis upon different data storage, and it's fully automated. It can be either at small or large scale under different network topology to test whatever you want. And we wanted to add the ability to add a new database really easily, so you can test your own database if you want. So there are different commands for Juice. Deploy and OpenStack commands allows you to actually deploy your storage backend environment. The OpenStack with DevStack, so you can put some libraries you need if you want, and the required control services. As I said earlier, you can also define your network topology by applying traffic shaping rules. So as you can see, it's quite easy to add a database. We have actually 4 files to add. The last one can be a problem because depending on the library, it might be the database, the library might be difficult to do. For Cockroach, it was really quite easy, but it really depends on the database. When you've got your database, you can then play with Rally and play any scenarios you want. And you can also perform stress test on your database using Sysbench. And then you can finally back up your environment and destroy everything so you have a clean slate to make a new experiment.
Thank you, Marie. So now let's deep dive into the evaluation of the distributed keystone using the 3 bottom-up options that have been presented by Marie. So yeah, maybe I do not have much time, so yeah. Let's go ahead. We consider 3 kind of test cases for our evaluation. First, the number of OpenStack instances we have. So we first start with 3 OpenStack instances, then 9, and finally 45 OpenStack instances. When I say OpenStack instances, for the purpose of this evaluation, inside each instances, we only have Keystone service. So the purposes of the first test cases is to see if the number of OpenStack instances impacts the completion time of Keystone. We also have one that is based on the network latency. So we use traffic shaping to change the latency between each node, between each OpenStack instances. And finally, a third one, which stick to the geo-distributed option presented by Maury. Okay, so regarding the load, actually we test several rally scenarios, but in this presentation I'm going to present only 2. The first one, which is the authentication and validation of Keystone token, which is, I guess, the one that most people are interested in, because this is the one that is mostly called on Keystone. And a second one, which is create user and update password for that user. And why we choose this second one, because this is the one that got the highest rate of write on the database. Regarding the load, we call rally in 2 different manners, in 2 different modes. A light mode. In the light mode, we only start 1 rally on 1 OpenStack instance. And we also have a high mode, and high mode we start rally in each OpenStack instances. So when we have 45 OpenStack instances, actually we are starting 45 rally. And for instance, this scenario starts 10 clients, so we have 550 constant concurrent requests on the database. So really, really high load. Hopla. Okay, let's take a look at the first scenario, the authentication and validation of a Keystone token. So here, we measure the impact of the number of OpenStack instances and the completion time. In this scenario, here a stack bar chart presents the mean completion time of an iteration. For 3, 9, and 45 instances. The first one is for MariaDB, the second one is for Galera, and the third one is for CockroachDB. And what we can see that we have similar trends. So okay, in that simple scenario, we have similar trends. It took a little more time to CockroachDB to complete the iteration, but at least Cockroach is a new technology and is less mature than MariaDB or the synchronization system Galera. Now let's try to be more rude on our system and start a rally on every OpenStack instances. So here, and here we have 45 rallies that are started. With 45 replica, we can see that Galera is actually really, really bad. It takes too much. It takes much more time to complete an iteration than other solution. If we plot the cumulative distribution function, we see something really interesting that actually only 5% of all the iteration took a really long time, up to 25 seconds. And this is why we have this really big mean, but actually only 5% of the iteration take a really long time. This result is not really clear for us and definitely need more investigation. I have no really good idea why it behaves like that. Okay, so now let's take a look at the impact of the network latency. So in this scenario, we have 9 OpenStack instances, and we make the latency between each instances vary, from a LAN speed to 100 milliseconds of rounding type, and then 300 milliseconds of round trip time. And what we can see that, okay, Galera works well, Maria works well, but then CockroachDB. And CockroachDB is like, okay. And the reason is because every write you do into CockroachDB have to satisfy the quorum. So every time you do a write, for instance here, that write have to be validated on the quorum. And it means that every write pays the cost of the latency. So with 30 milliseconds, your write on the database take at least 300 milliseconds. What happens if we put more load on the same scenario? So okay, CockroachDB definitely doesn't work in such a scenario. It takes 70 seconds to complete a scenario, to complete an iteration most of the time. But something really interesting is about MariaDB and Galera. So in this scenario, MariaDB takes more time to complete iteration than Galera. And the reason is all rally, in the case of MariaDB, most of all rally are far from the database. So every time they want to do a read, they have to pay the cost of the latency. While in Galera, the replication system ensures that all keystone, there, our whole database, gets information locally. So it means that during a read, Galera, actually Rally, do not have to pay the cost of the latency. And thus, Rally, on top of Galera, does not have to pay it. It's good. OK, so now let's consider the second scenario, the second one, which is the creation of a user and update of its password, which got a really higher write rate. So once again, we take really simple parameters. We have 3, 9, and 45 OpenStack instances, and we only run Rally and see how completion, and see the completion time. Just like before, here the trends are similar in that simple configuration. But what happens if we put more load on the system? So first of all, Galera crash. Simply. We run the scenario several times, and Galera always crash under pressure. And it's still not clear why. Then let's take a look at CockroachDB. So CockroachDB does not crash, but iteration take a really long time. And the reason is that the update of a password is actually a transaction. And CockroachDB transactions are applied one after the other inside a range to ensure snapshot isolation. So in the case of 45 OpenStack instances, we have 550 constant concurrent transactions on the database, and they can be applied only one after the other. Actually, if we look at the CDF there, we clearly see that one iteration takes more time than the other, than the previous, and we have a kind of snowball effect. And unfortunately for CockroachDB, when we put latency, the snowball effect just increases. The reason is CockroachDB resolves concurrent transaction with a deadlock. So every time there is 2 concurrent transactions that come into CockroachDB, CockroachDB say, oh, sorry, I cannot apply the transaction because those two transactions are concurrent. Then Keystone handle the deadlock with an exponential backoff. So the exponential backoff pick an arbitrary number and wait that time before retrying the transaction. So it picks time between first 0 on 1, then 0 on 4, then 0 on 8, and then 0 on 16, then 0 on 32 milliseconds. But the problem is, look, here we have 300 milliseconds of latency. So every time you do a retry, actually you are doing a return too quickly because you do not wait the time of the latency. And this means that you are simply putting a lot more contention on the system. OK, so in case of high latency and high load, contention is so big that CockroachDB crashed. It took actually it took more than 10 retries for CockroachDB to complete one iteration, and after 10 retries, the Keystone simply considered that the transaction should be discarded. So at that time, we have Galera that doesn't work at large scale under high load, and we have CockroachDB that doesn't work under high latency for scenario with consequent write. So, OK, but remember, CockroachDB is also called a geo-distributed database. So right now, we test this kind of scenario. We have the quorum is made, we have 300 milliseconds between each member of our replica. So every time I want to do a read, every time I want to do a write, every time I want to apply a transaction, then the transaction has to go through the 300 milliseconds. But inside CockroachDB, you can mitigate the impact of the latency by telling where the quorum should be done. So let's consider the second example where we put the quorum here. We put two replica on the same group, and the latency here is only 20 milliseconds. And one for, and there where we put every member of the replica in the same group. And if we look at the trend, actually, so this one is for the virtual one, and the result is the same that what we got in the previous example with 300 milliseconds between each node. But now, with this version and that version, actually we got something that is pretty good. Yes, we did not pay the cost of the latency, thanks to the geo distribution. There is something that you have to be aware with this, is that in such a case, actually you can define where the quorum should be done, but only at the level of a table. You cannot do it at the level of a record. So if I start manually, then only one of them could take the advantage of the geo distribution. And others still pay the cost of the latency. So it means that we need a new kind of database system that really take into account the locality and do it at the level of a record.
So thanks. So let's try to wrap up a bit what we said during this talk. So the first point, the first surprise, let's say, is that actually Galera runs quite well and large scale. I mean, you can consider an edge infrastructure which will be composed of 45 sites and use Galera to synchronize all the data in order to be able to share the information across the different edge sites. So this is good, but actually each time, I mean, the evil is in the details. So if you look in those details, actually this number of 45s for Galera is really specific to the patterns. If it is a read patterns, then Galera scale well. But then if you start with write request, you'll have some impact. With Cockroach, actually, at the beginning, to be honest, we were a bit scared about the results. What's wrong? I mean, Cockroach should be the next DB to address all the issues we have in the geo-distributed system, but the results were not so encouraging. And once you enable this locality awareness features in Cockroach, results become much better. So the point we have to do to finalize this study from an academic perspective is that we should dive into corner case, because as Ronan said, for only a few corner cases, the results we got cannot be explained. A point that we do not discuss during this talk, but which is really important, is that what is the cost of porting CockroachDB for OpenStack? So the same. Here, if you look into details, actually it's quite straightforward, a few lines. But if you look to the last point, I mean, each time you want to switch from one version of OpenStack to another version of OpenStack, you have to call the SQLAlchemy Megwrite script. And actually, this script was not suited to Cockroach, or rather the opposite. Cockroach was not ready to handle such scripts. And here, actually, the engineer made, and especially Ronan, made a lot of efforts on that. So we have a couple of other results and graphs that we are going to put soon on our blog. What is the takeaway message? So this talk focuses on Keystone, but once again, our goal in the FMDC is to try to see whether we can apply such a strategy on other components, on other services. So the main idea is that can we use, for example, CockroachDB or something which is CockroachDB-like for other services such as Nova. We start with Keystone because actually the pattern, the access pattern of Keystone are quite simple. It's mostly read access and a few writes, as Ronan introduced. With Nova, things can be completely different, but that's something we would like to address also. The other point is that with all those DB that provide cool features, right now we do not have any information regarding how they behave with respect to all the network partition issue we may have in an edge infrastructure. And this is also another point we are going to address for the next cycles. And that's all. Thanks. So questions, if there are some. Yes, please.
Hi, thanks. Have you ever considered looking that the read-write radio is pretty high on reads and very low on writes? Have you considered only use typical PostgreSQL replication clusters instead of CockroachDB?
So what is your idea?
To distribute the read replicas only from PostgreSQL, not using CockroachDB, because the engine is very different.
So if I correctly understood, the idea is to use some advanced features of Postgre to be able to. So no, we didn't do that. But we would be happy to have more information. The point is that right now, the PostgreSQL driver is not well supported in OpenStack. And I even believe it's deprecated. So which means that you cannot use OpenStack directly on top of PostgreSQL DB. You have to do some development as we did for Cockroach.
OK, got it.
But we can discuss offline. I mean, if there is other strategy that we are not aware about, we will be happy to know.
Yeah, if we can be aware of the data locality, I think could be a good option to improve the scalability.
Sure, we can discuss that point offline.
Sure.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
I don't think you mentioned the token type you were using. Was it?
Can you just speak louder?
Sorry?
Fernet.
Fernet.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's actually we did our evaluation on OpenStack Pike. So Fernet is a default one, if I'm right, on that version. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So I'm just surprised at the results, considering that Fernet is not persisted to database.
Yeah, and me also. Actually, I was really surprising about that part. So I ran, you know about OS Profiler. OS Profiler is a tool to do some trace, to do profiling into OpenStack. And recently, OS Profiler has been implemented into Rally. So you can ask Rally to do a trace. And actually, there is some call to the database. I really don't know where it happened exactly. I was really surprised about that also.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. So we have time for last short questions, if there is one. If not, thanks.